Today marks the 29th day of July 2021, and you can get us live. Leave your comment on Facebook, or you can do that on WhatsApp on 079797777, 079797777, or you can do that via our studio lines on 078 50 70 50, 088153600, or 031622 the numbers to which you can be part of the program tonight. And our tutor tonight is Mr. Brema and Sumana Jawad. And I want to turn the mic over quickly to our tutor tonight. Mr. Jawad, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, listeners, viewers. Today we are looking at phrases. We have decided to do so because it is a major component of the English language in terms of comprehension passage. In the comprehension, candidates are required to give grammatical names and grammatical functions of underlined expressions. So therefore, that one has to look at phrases and clauses. But because of time, we are going to narrow down our discussion to phrases this night. But in the first place, what is a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that lacks a subject and a predicate or both. A phrase is a group of words that lacks a subject and a predicate or both. What is a subject? A subject of a sentence is the doer, is the performer, is the carrier of an action. The predicate of a sentence is that part that confirms, it affirms, it qualifies the subject. Now, similarly too, a phrase can be defined as a group of words that lacks a finite verb. What is this finite verb? A finite verb is a verb that does not agree in terms of tense with its subject. A finite verb is a verb that does not agree in terms of tense with its subject. Now, there are many types of phrases. One, let us start with noun phrase. Noun phrase. A noun phrase is a phrase that performs the action of a noun. Now it has got qualifiers. That is to say, the underlining starts from any one of these. One, the underlining may start from the use of relative pronoun. You have, for example, what, whatever, which, whichever, who, whoever. Or sometimes it starts with the use of what? Demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns. You have that, this, these, those. Or it may start with the use of what? Articles. A, they, an. Or it may start with the use of what? Determiners. Determiners. When we say determiners, they are noun introducers. These are words that precede a noun. A noun phrase may start with the use of them. For example, you have mine, ours, theirs, etc. Noun phrases are introduced with the use of those expressions. For example, let us have an example of a noun phrase. I saw something over there. I saw something over there. Underline something over there. I saw something over there. Something over there is underlined. Remember that all noun phrases answer the question what. I saw something over there. It answers the question, what did you see? It answers the question, what did you see? Something over there. So therefore, you underline something over there. In this sentence, you have the grammatical name. When we say grammatical name, in this case, is a noun phrase. And by grammatical function, noun phrases function like subjects of a verb, object of a verb, subject of a preposition, or object of a preposition, or sometimes complement. Now, in this case, it is behaving like what? Object of the verb saw. I saw something over there. Object of the verb saw. Second example. I gave him, ask the question, what did you give him? Underline a gift. Underline a gift. In this case, it is a noun phrase. By grammatical function, objects of the verb gave. In this case, it is behaving like subject of the verb was. Subject of the verb was. The fourth example. They talked to me. They talked to me about the issue. They talked to me about the issue. The issue is underlined. Remember, we have said noun phrases can be introduced with the use of articles, a, they, and an. In this case, it is introduced with the use of an article, they. The issue is underlined. It is a noun phrase. Another example, a terrible storm is expected. A terrible storm is expected. A terrible storm is underlined. Pay attention to the underlined expression in order to have the grammatical function. A terrible storm is expected. In this case, it starts with the use of article a and underline a terrible storm. It is behaving like subject of the verb is. Another example. I met a charming girl. I met a charming girl. A charming girl is underlined. C-H-A-R-M-I-N-G. Charming. C-H-A-R-M-I-N-G. Charming. A charming girl. I met a charming girl. A charming girl is underlined. In this case, it is behaving like a noun phrase. Object of the verb met. The book on the table is my favorite. The book on the table is my favorite. Underline the book on the table. The book on the table. The book on the table is a noun phrase. It is behaving like subject of the verb is. Subject of the verb is. Another example, what I showed you was the answer to question 5. What I showed you was the answer to question 5. The answer to question 5 is underlined. Underline the answer to question 5. By grammatical function, it is object of the verb was. Now, don't forget the major introducers of noun phrases. We said one, they start with the use of demonstrative pronouns, that, these, those, this. They start with the use of articles, a, an, they. These are all articles. They also start with the use of what? Determiners. Few, several, many, ours, theirs, etc. Now, write the sentences below and find the grammatical name and grammatical function. My short red pen is missing. My short red pen is missing. Mr. Jawad took some tables. Mr. Jawad took some tables. All right. Now let us go to Jiron Phrase. Jiron Phrase. A gerund is a verb that ends in the verb progressive tense ing. A gerund phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of a gerund as a head word and other post modifiers. Gerund as the head word and other post modifiers. Those verbs behave like nouns and they end in the verb progressive tense ing. For example, some examples of gerunds: jumping, singing, dancing, running. These are all gerunds. They are activity words. Now we said a gerund phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of a gerund as a head word and other post modifiers. Reading newspaper is one way of finding a job. Reading newspaper is one way of finding a job. Reading newspaper is underlined. Reading newspaper is one way of finding a job. Reading newspaper is underlined. In this case, it is a gerund phrase because it starts with the use of a gerund as a head word and it behaves in this case like a noun. Reading newspaper is one way of finding a job. By grammatical function, it is serving like subject of the verb is. Another example, Mr. Jawad is reading for his exam. Mr. Jawad is reading for his exam. Reading for his exam is underlined. The grammatical name is a gerund phrase. It serves as object of the verb is. Now, do the following. Jawad gave swimming all his time. Swimming all his time is underlined. Jawad gave swimming all his time. Swimming all his time is underlined. Grammatical names and grammatical function. Idling during examination week is not something good for students. Idling during examination week is not something good for PPs, for students. Idling during examination week is underlined. What is the grammatical name and grammatical function? Another example, smoking is dangerous to your health. Smoking is dangerous to your health. Smoking is dangerous is underlined. What is the grammatical name? All right, we go to another type of phrase we call adjective phrase. An adjective phrase is a phrase that does the work of an adjective. An adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. So therefore, adjective phrases describe a noun or a pronoun. For example, the dog in the farm is mine. The dog in the farm is mine. In the farm is underlined. In the farm is underlined. The underlined expression describes the noun dog. Therefore, it is an adjective phrase by grammatical name. And grammatical function is it is describing the noun dog. Another example. The girl in the red dress is too beautiful to be in love with that poor boy. The girl in the red dress is too beautiful to be in love with that poor boy. In the red dress is underlined. In the red dress is underlined. Grammatical name is an adjective phrase. It describes the noun girl. You have to equally note that most adjective phrases are introduced with the use of a preposition. Adjective phrases are most times introduced with the use of prepositions. For example, we said, the girl in the red dress is too beautiful to be in love with that poor boy. Now, in the red dress is underlined. You will see that in is a preposition. The man under the bridge is sleeping. The man under the bridge is sleeping. Under the bridge is underlined. The grammatical name is an adjective phrase. It describes the noun man. And please note that all adjectival elements, whether a phrase or a clause, adjective specifically answers the question which. Like we said, the man under the bridge is sleeping. Which man? Under the bridge is underlined. The lady with the bag is my sister. The lady with the bag is my sister. It answers the question, which lady? It answers the question, which lady? And in this case, it is describing the noun lady. The house over there near the country tree is empty at the moment. The house over there near the country tree is empty at the moment. It answers the question, which house? Over there near the country tree. Description, it is describing the noun house. Any candidate with arrears will not be registered. Any candidate with arrears will not be registered. With arrears is underlined. It describes the noun candidate. The moderator by me is a linguist. The moderator by me is a linguist. It answers the question, which moderator? The moderator by me. So, by me is underlined. In this case, it describes the noun moderator. Now, try this one. The distinguished man in the coat was my teacher. The distinguished man in the coat was my teacher. In the coat is underlined. What is the grammatical name and grammatical function? Now we look at another example of a phrase, adverbial phrase. Like an adverb, all adverbial phrases modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. It is important to note that the mastery of phrases and clauses solely depends on your mastery of the part of speech. We said an adverbial phrase modifies, adjective describe, and adverbs modify. Please note this. Use description for adjectives and use modification for adverbs. We said an adverbial phrase modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Adverbial phrases modify an adverb, an adjective, or a verb, and all adverbial elements, particularly phrases. In this case, it is what we have as a topic of discussion, answers 6 different questions. When, where, how often, to what extent, and why. That relates to the types of adverbs. Talking about when, adverb of time, where, adverb of place, how, adverb of manner, how often, adverb of negation or frequency, to what extent, adverb of degree, why, adverb of reason. So now let us have these examples. My wife sang for 3 minutes. My wife sang for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes is underlined. My wife sang for 3 minutes. Now underline for 3 minutes. It answers the question, how many minutes did your wife sing? For 3 minutes. By grammatical name, it is an adverbial phrase and it modifies the verb sang. It modifies the verb sang. The man was suspicious of the crime. The man was suspicious of the crime. Another example, the man was suspicious of the crime. Of the crime is underlined. Of the crime is underlined. In this case, it modifies the adjective suspicious. Suspicious. Another example. They arrived late in the afternoon. They arrived late in the afternoon. In the afternoon is underlined. It answers the question, when did they arrive? In the afternoon is underlined. It modifies the adverb late. It modifies the adverb late. The action was done with impunity. The action was done with impunity. With impunity is underlined. With impunity is underlined. In this case, it answers the question, how was the action done? How was the action done? Remember, we have said adverbial phrases answers the question when, where, how often, to what extent, and why. In this case, we said the action was done with impunity. It answers the question, how was the action done? With impunity is underlined. And in this case, it modifies the verb phrase was done. It modifies the verb phrase was done. Another example. She was happy during the competition. She was happy during the competition. During the competition is underlined. It answers the question, when was she happy? During the competition. So in this case, during the competition modifies the adjective happy. Now do this one. Try these ones as a test. She spoke loudly in order to be heard. She spoke loudly in order to be heard. Give the grammatical name and grammatical function. He speaks with care. He speaks with care. In the first sentence I gave as an example, as a test, in order to be heard should be underlined. The second one, he speaks with care. With care is underlined. Give the grammatical name and grammatical function of the above expressions. Note. Note. If an adverbial phrase begins a sentence, it should be separated with the use of a comma. If an adverbial phrase begins a sentence, it should be separated with the use of a comma. Example. After dinner, John arrived. After dinner, John arrived. After dinner is underlined and followed by a comma. John arrived. In this case, it is modifying the verb arrived. And it answers the question, when did John arrive? Another type of phrase we are going to look at is prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of a preposition and ends with a noun or a pronoun. A prepositional phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of a preposition and ends with a noun or a pronoun. However, some grammarians consider a prepositional phrase to function as an adjectival phrase or adverbial phrase. So therefore, they are considered to be edge phrases or peripheral phrases. That is to say, prepositional phrases in terms of grammatical functions are not being described by their own names, but they either function like adjectives or adverbial phrases. For example, look at the expressions below. Outside there, outside there, on the table, on the table, in the farm, in the farm. Like we said by definition, that prepositional phrases are phrases that are introduced with the use of a preposition and ends with a noun or a pronoun. By grammatical description, we can say these ones are prepositional phrases. But if we attach them to a sentence, then you will see them performing the role of adverb or adjective. Let us see the examples below. They worked in my farm yesterday. They worked in my farm yesterday. In my farm yesterday is underlined. Remember, we have said grammatically, prepositional phrases are not being called their own names, but rather they behave like edge phrases. They behave either like adjectives or adverbs. They behave like adjective when they describe a noun or a pronoun. And they behave like adverbs when they modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Are you getting the point? I hope I'm understood there. Now let us look at the sentences below and see the grammatical name and grammatical function. They worked in my farm yesterday. They worked in my farm yesterday. Like we initially said, it answers the question, where did they work? Where did they work? Where did they work? In my farm. In my farm is underlined. In my farm is underlined. In my farm is behaving in this sense like what? An adverb, because it modifies the verb, worked, and it answers the question, where did they work? In my farm. Second example. He succeeded through hard work. He succeeded through hard work. Through hard work is underlined. You will see that this one starts with the use of a preposition and ends with a noun. But grammatically, we cannot call it a prepositional phrase, because we said prepositional phrases behaves like edge phrases by functioning like adjective or adverbs. They function like adjective when they describe a noun or a pronoun, and behaves like adverb when they modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. He succeeded through hard work. Now it answers the question, how did he succeed? Through hard work. Through hard work. Through hard work. This is an adverbial phrase. It modifies the verb succeeded. It modifies the verb succeeded. Another example, we are still looking at prepositional phrases. We said, though they are prepositions, but they are not to be grammatically called prepositional phrases because they serve like edge phrases. The house over there is ours. The house over there is ours. It answers the question, which house? Over there. Which house? And in this case, it behaves like an adjectival phrase. The television was installed on the wall. Installed. The television was installed on the wall. On the wall is underlined. 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 On the wall, it shows place, location. Where was the television installed? On the wall. So in this case, it modifies the verb installed. The bowl with the broken handle is mine. The bowl with the broken handle is mine. It answers the question, which bowl with the broken handle is underlined. Underlined with the broken handle. So in this case, this is what? An adjectival phrase by grammatical name, and it describes the noun bowl. So therefore we have said a prepositional phrase is a peripheral phrase or edge phrase that functions like an adjective or like adverbs. Now try these ones. The man at the gate is a thief. The man at the gate is a thief. The man at the gate is a thief. At the gate is underlined. The man at the gate is a thief. At the gate is underlined. It answers the question, which man? Tell me the grammatical name. The dog barked at the policeman. The dog barked at the policeman. At the policeman is underlined. Tell me the grammatical name and grammatical function. The accident on the bridge was too serious. The accident on the bridge was too serious. On the bridge is underlined. Tell me the grammatical name and grammatical function. Now we come to what? Another type of phrase we call infinitive phrase. Infinitive phrase. I hope you are taking note. Infinitive phrase. An infinitive in English means the term to. Infinitive in English means the term to. So therefore, an infinitive phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of the head word to and other post modifiers. An infinitive phrase, we said, is a phrase that is introduced with the use of the head word to and other post modifiers. Example: I came to be seen. I came to be seen. To be seen is underlined. To be seen is underlined. Now, it is important to note that infinitive phrases can behave like noun in terms of grammatical names and grammatical function. They behave like adjective, or they can even behave like adverbs. I came to be seen. By grammatical name, to be seen is underlined. To be seen is underlined. Grammatical name is a noun phrase. By grammatical name and grammatical function, infinitive phrases serves like what? Edge phrases. They behave like nouns, like adverbs, or like adjectives. I came to be seen. To be seen is underlined. In this case, it serves as object of the verb came. They were asked to stay. They were asked to stay. To stay is underlined. To stay is underlined. Grammatical name, if it is what? To stay is a noun phrase. It serves like object of the verb asked. Now try these ones. To come here is difficult. To come here is difficult. To come here is difficult. To come here is underlined. To tell him is a crime. To tell him is a crime. To tell him is a crime. Now, let me give a summary of our discussion. We have discussed, we said a phrase is a group of words that lacks a subject and a predicate. Or a phrase is a group of words that lacks a finite verb. What is this finite verb? We said is a verb that agrees in terms of tense with its subject. We have discussed types of phrases. We have got a noun phrase. We said a noun phrase functions like a noun. They have major introducers. That is, for example, if you go to the comprehension passage, their underlining may start from any one of these. It could be a relative pronoun. We said what, which, whichever, whatever, who, whoever. Or sometimes they start with the use of determiners. Mine, ours, theirs, yours. Or sometimes they are introduced with the use of articles. A, they, an. And we have discussed equally adjectival phrases. We said adjectival phrases by grammatical function, they describe a noun or a pronoun. And adjectival phrases are most times introduced with the use of prepositions. But even when they do so, they describe a noun or a pronoun. And we said all adjectival phrases answers the question which. Like I said, the man in the red t-shirt is my friend. The man in the red t-shirt is my friend. It answers the question which man. It answers the question which man. And we have similarly discussed adverbial phrase. We said an adverbial phrase is a phrase that does the work of an adverb. Describing, they modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. And all adverbial elements answers 6 different questions. To what extent? How often? When? Where? How? And why? We have similarly discussed infinitive. We said infinitive phrases are phrases that are introduced with the use of the head word, to, and other postal modifiers. We have equally discussed prepositional phrases. We said a prepositional phrase behaves in 2 ways. Grammatically, in terms of grammatical functions, they function like adjective or like adverbs. We said a prepositional phrase is a phrase that is introduced with the use of the head word of a preposition and ends with a noun or a pronoun. The lady in the car. The lady in the car is my friend. The lady in the car is my friend. It answers the question, which lady? The lady in the car. And by grammatical name, it describes the noun lady. And I have given you some expressions for you to give the grammatical name and grammatical functions. Let us look at, again, gerunds. We said a gerund is a verb that ends in the verb progressive tense ing. Then we said, what are Jiron phrases? These are phrases that are introduced with the use of a gerund as a head word and other modifiers. For example, smoking is dangerous to your health. Smoking is dangerous is underlined. That is a gerund phrase. The other type of phrase we are going to look at is appositive phrase. Appositive phrase. When we say an appositive, it behaves like an adjective by describing a noun. For example, Madabio, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, is coming today. Madabio, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Underline the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Now you will see that the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone is describing Madabio. So it behaves like an adjective by describing a noun. Let us look at another example of an appositive phrase. Kenema, the home of many government parastatals, has been neglected. Kenema, the home of many government parastatals, has been neglected. The home of many government parastatals describe Kenema. It behaves like an adjective by describing the noun Kenema. Ernest Bai Kromah, former president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, has spoken. Ernest Bai Kromah, former president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, has spoken. Former president of the Republic of Sierra Leone is underlined. You will see that it describes the noun Ernest Bai Kromah. Another example. Regina, the young beautiful girl I told you about, is here. Regina, the young beautiful girl I told you about, is here.
Indeed, let us make Africa a tree of life, and I believe that's the hope, and that's what every African needs. And listeners and viewers alike, we want to have